Kind of fun. Good place to start. Kind of get used to the beating and banging. It was kind of a demolition derby type event, but you have to race 200 laps type of deal, and the first one across the finish line is obviously the winner, but definitely some skill involved there, trying to figure out how to get by the cars and stuff like that. But
is that where a younger guy would start? Like
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Basically like the minor leagues.
Exactly. So after that, I jumped in the open wheel car. Had a couple of neighbors, they were kind of in it, and thought that was the way to go. So we've been there for 3 years now, and really enjoying it, having fun.
Perfect. Now, Byron, you've raced many different cars, and now you're into the Atlantic Open Wheel. Now, why don't you explain to us a little bit about the Atlantic Open Wheel car?
Well, the good thing about the Atlantic Open Wheel car is, if you want to call it a cookie cutter car compared to all the rest, but they're all identical cars with identical shocks, wheels, tires, roll cages, bodies, motors, camshafts. Everything is spec'd out on these cars. So it's not a matter of cubic dollars winning a race. It now becomes chassis skill, how you can set the car up, and then how good of a driver you are. Because the cars are teched every week. They're really strict on that. And they're easy to tech because they're all the same. And if you see something
different. How it should be, though, like keep it fair like that, like everyone has the same chance. So basically it comes down to the best driver and the best crew, the best team wins the race then, where everyone's got the exact same fair advantage.
I like this. Now, I've done some other, raced in other tours, and you'll go to Prince Edward Island. So you're not going just down the street to go racing. The other tours will probably put their fastest cars at the front. So as a middle of the pack guy, or somebody not even to the middle of the pack, you don't stand a chance because the fast guys are starting up front. With the AOW tour, they start by an average. So your lower average, or you might say your slower cars, or maybe guys that have good cars just had bad luck, but they're low, down on the points average, they'll start at the front. The guys that are faster are at the back, and that makes it exciting for the fans.
Absolutely, and it is definitely a lot more fair that way. I mean, I know some people who are lower budget teams when they do the Pro Stock Tour, and it's tough keeping up with the big guys. I mean, you've got your Sean Tuckers and your Scott Alexanders and your John Flemings, who are big budget guys in the New Brunswick racing industry, and it's tough to keep up with them as, you know, someone who doesn't have a whole lot of money to work with and to build up their cars. But with the AOW, everyone's got the same thing, so it all comes down more to skill. Do you find that's
absolutely, yeah. Some of those Pro Stock cars, you could spend $1,200 on one shock absorber. If you don't have that shock absorber, you're not going to go to the front. With these cars, we have a spec shock. It has to have that number on it, and when they check the car, if it doesn't have that shock on it, it's not a good day.
So do you not race if that happens, or do you get penalized? Like if
you would get penalized, they would take your points that you had gained that day, and they would take the money that you earned that day. And luckily, it hasn't been a problem. Everyone's been real good. Like last year, it was my first year. I don't think we had any problems
with it. Yeah.
We've over the last 3 years, I think I recall it happening 3 times where somebody got caught, and because they know what's going to happen, the guys just don't go down that path. Everybody
really
keeps
not
it
worth it then,
no,
you know,
definitely not. Because you miss one race, the way that the points is set up, you miss one race, you're out of the championship.
It's not like a steroid test where you can try to get around it or something like
no,
that. You
definitely
know, like these baseball players, it's more like, you know, everybody's, you know, if it doesn't match the number or the tag or the certain certificate, it doesn't make the cut. That's good to know.
So it's a good series to race in.
Good stuff. No, definitely good. All right, well, right now we are going to catch up with the Atlantic Female Hockey Championships that happened in St. Andrews over the weekend, and we were there. We caught up with Trevor Murphy, Bill Taylor, and Tom Donovan. Let's take a look at that.
The W.C. O'Neill rink was busy hosting a new hockey championship. We caught up with Trevor Murphy of Hockey Canada and asked him about the event.
We're here in St. Andrews, New Brunswick for the first official Atlantic Female Midget Hockey Championship. We've got the 4 provincial champions from each of the Atlantic provinces, plus a host team. And so far it's been an absolutely phenomenal weekend of hockey and a great showcase for these female players.
Bill Taylor with the host team, the Southern Fundy Tide, says this tournament is a chance for the players to take their game to the next level.
So you've got Atlantic championships at the midget AAA level for boys. You've had it for Bantams and Pee Wee boys now for a long time. This is the first time ever for the female game. All these girls have played at a high level for a long time. A lot of them have represented their province, be it at a Canada Games or an under-18, under-15 program. Most, if not all, have had to play with boys. They've had to play competitive hockey, body checking and all that to move their game to the next level. So this is the first time ever that they've been able to play together, girl on girl, best on best, and it's been fabulous. Most of the rest of Canada's had these midget AAA programs going for several years. This is the first time for Atlantic Canada. Next year, the winner of our Atlantic Canadian Championship will move on and represent the East Coast at a national championship.
Tom Donovan of Hockey New Brunswick says that an event like this is very important leading to play at the national level.
This is a tremendous important event, especially for our high-performance players. This is the next step to this is playing for a national championship, which we hope over the next 2 years that's going to happen. And this is a real development stage for these girls.
And just for the young girls to see these older girls playing, to have something to set a goal for in the future, and see where they can go with it in the next few years if they work hard enough and if they want to be a part of it. It's a great opportunity for these young players to see these midget-age players and just understand what's available to them if they work hard enough.
They can go to the national under-18 team, and a lot of them are soon graduating from high school, and there's colleges, lots of scouts here this weekend, colleges all over the place looking at these girls.
Tournaments like these increase exposure and provide the opportunity for these talented young women to take it to the next level. At the Atlantic Midget Female Hockey Championships for Too Close to Call, I'm Charles Fries-Melvin.
We have some results from that tournament as well. The Hockey NB team from the Moncton area actually took the gold against Hockey Nova Scotia by a score of 4-1. So congratulations, girls. I hope that it got some good exposure for you and takes you to where you want to be. Now, right now, I want to give something away to you guys. We've got a 1-month pass to Spartan Fitness to give away to our third caller. So why don't you give us a call, 1-866-257-5037. If you'd like to have that 1-month pass to Spartan Fitness, 1-866-257-5037. So you can give us a call right now. You can also use that number to ask any questions you may have for Joe or Byron about the Atlantic Open Wheel. Or maybe you got a question for Tyler. I don't know. But in any case, we would love to hear from you here at Too Close to Call. Now, right now, I just want to talk a little bit about the 2008 schedule for the Atlantic Open Wheel. Now, when is your race going to kick off?
Joe's the man there.
Joe's the man to talk to you about that. He's got the dates.
We're still working on our schedule a little bit, still negotiating with some of the tracks right now. As it stands right now, we have 5 dates confirmed. We're actually starting down in Antigonish this year during their Speed Weeks 250, which is going to be on July the 19th. We're racing down there on a Friday night this year. So that's a good event. From there, we're heading over to PEI, racing at Riverside Parkway. I guess that date is on August the 3rd. From there, we move on to Shediac, again, another 250 weekend. There'll be cars there from every division, street stock, pro stock, sportsman, along with the AOWs. That's on August the 3rd. From there, we're moving up to Speedway 660, which is formerly NBIS. That's going to be on Labor Day weekend. We race there on a Saturday night starting at 7. And then we're going back down to Shediac to race on September the 21st. But we're still negotiating, so we're hoping, typically we race about a 10 race schedule. But looks like we're going to be pretty close to that this year, coming in probably around 9 from what I'm gathering right now.
Okay, perfect. So, I mean, you mentioned Antigonish, and you mentioned PEI, and you've mentioned some New Brunswick tracks as well. How far do you go with these races? How many tracks?
Typically, there's about 7 or 8 tracks we go to. Probably the furthest away right now is the Antigonish track. Been to Bathurst a couple of times. That's a great little facility up there. You got a quarter-mile track. It's basically about 2.5 lanes wide, so you got to be on top of your game to get around that one, that's for sure. Especially with our car counts. Typically, we get about 30 guys that run on the tour. Most of the guys, I would say, our average car count's probably around 22 to each of the events. So
what would it cost to get into one of those, like just out of curiosity?
Depends. If you're a guy that wants to get out and build a car right from scratch, you know, probably $7,000-8,000, probably do it. But there's a couple of second-hand ones out there for sale. I know you can get a good deal on right now too. So
absolutely, I have noticed some stuff on the classified.